on the mic.
Get on the mic.
Just get on the mic. Get on the mic, Mike.
Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Get on the Mic, which is a segment that's basically me, a microphone, a few notes, giving my thoughts on some things that happened during this week. Today on Get on the Mic, we're going to be talking about Ben Affleck's future as Batman, Amazon's planned Middle-earth series, and Comcast possibly buying 21st Century Fox assets. First, we're going to be talking about the future of Ben Affleck as Batman. The big rumor is that Ben wants to get out of playing the part, and he may not even play the Batman in the movie The Batman. Who knows what the future holds with Ben Affleck as Batman? I have to say, after seeing Justice League, I thought he did a pretty good job. He was one of the bright standouts of Batman v Superman, and whenever he showed up in Suicide Squad, it worked. The big rumor is that they're already making contingency plans if he decides he wants to leave. And the big rumor is that the director of The Batman, Matt Reeves, has already found who he would like to take over as Ben Affleck if he decides to leave. And he's looking at Jake Gyllenhaal to be the new Batman. Like I said, this is rumor. I have to say, it goes down like this. There's just different ways this could happen. First, how would they replace him? Okay, how are they going to do it? Are they going to kill off Bruce Wayne and introduce a new character as Batman? Which, of course, I don't know which Robin is the Robin that we see the suit for in Suicides or in Batman v Superman, where we see the Robin suit that's Joker's painted all over or whatever. Of course, all fingers point to Jason Todd, which would leave, we would still have a Tim Drake. We would still have a Dick Grayson in the universe, possibly. We've heard inklings that there might be a Nightwing movie. So that's just it. It's like, are we going to have someone else taking over the mantle of the Bat for Bruce Wayne? The other way this could go is they could just recast him. It doesn't really happen with major roles like this, but look how many people have played Batman over, the history of the character. There's been a lot. So, they could go with it that way. If they do decide to make it somebody else other than Bruce Wayne, Gyllenhaal could play a former Robin. Like I said, he could be a Tim Drake or he could be a Dick Grayson. I think I'd prefer Dick Grayson given the age. And then if you had Dick Grayson's Batman, then you could maybe introduce Tim Drake and bring Robin back in. You could do it that way. Or if they just recast him, fine, bring in Gyllenhaal as Bruce Wayne. I'm okay with that. There's a few other choices I might be okay with. I'd really have to think about it. The name Ryan Gosling's come up before. Armie Hammer's name come up before. Whenever George Miller was planning on doing Justice League, Armie Hammer was going to be his choice for Batman. Which, oddly enough, he's rumored to be one of the front runners to play Hal Jordan in the future. So who knows where that's going? I have to say this though. I have a feeling that. I know Ben Affleck had a problem. He dropped out as director of the Batman because, I could understand trying to direct in a bat suit might be a little difficult. I think that's understandable. I have to think this though, since he got out of the directing part of it, I think it's gonna turn out that he, as long as he stays out of trouble, because of course, as I mentioned last week, and you guys already know that. He come off as kind of hypocritical with this whole, Hollywood sexual abuse thing, because he had minor issues. I don't know the full extent of them, but let's just say he come off kind of bad condemning Harvey Weinstein when he had done some things, years ago. And of course, I also mentioned that he was donating any money he was making from Weinstein to charity organizations. to try to make amends for that stuff. I have a feeling that pending any issues, Ben Affleck isn't going anywhere. I think they'll work it out to keep him as long as they want to keep Bruce Wayne in the universe. If they're going to replace Batman, I think they're going to set up a replacement character if they want to, but they would have to, I think they would have to establish a Nightwing. That would be my thing, is that they think they would do, is that they would establish a Nightwing. And if that's Jake Gyllenhaal, a Jake Gyllenhaal Nightwing would be amazing. So, I mean, I would love to get Jake Gyllenhaal in any superhero series. I mean, figure something out for him, because he's such a chameleon when he decides to do a role, that I think he would fit in given the right character. I mean, if you've seen movies like Southpaw or Nightcrawler, you know that this guy can transform himself. I mean, imagine him transforming himself into a Nightwing that turns into Batman. I mean, how cool that would be. So, but I don't think Ben Affleck's going anywhere. That's the point I'm trying to make. Ben Affleck, for this current WB DC universe, whatever they're truly dubbed, the DC, movie cinematic universe, whatever acronym you want to come up with it for them. I think that Ben Affleck is going to be Bruce Wayne until they finish this run of things. But granted, I don't know where they're going. I think they're talking alternate universes and stuff. So Lord help us, these movies are getting confusing and convoluted in some ways enough anyway. Next, I want to talk about Amazon making a Lord of the Rings prequel. They've come out and said that this prequel series, it takes place sometime before Fellowship of the Ring, and it's going to be in parts of Middle-earth that they haven't really explored yet. I mean, if you look at the map of Middle-earth and the stories, even of the stories of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, there's a lot of places they didn't go. So, I mean, there could be a lot of ideas coming from this. Now, I know that Amazon is working with New Line and the Tolkien estate and everything, but I don't know what they're using of, say, Tolkien's notes or books. I mean, you got to think about it. From what I understand, when they were making Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, the head of the estate at the time, which I can't remember if it was, I think it was Tolkien's grandson, I think. He basically said, well, you can use this, this, and this, and that's it. They kind of kept a lot of stuff off limits, but apparently the estate is giving a lot of options to use. I think they're giving a lot of options to use more assets. So, that would be a really interesting take on it. Not only are they getting a chance to make the series, with the success of that series, there's possibility of spin-offs can be made as well. I don't know if Amazon's trying to make their own Game of Thrones. That's my guess. But the idea, I like the idea of this. And, as long as they do it right, and I think as long as they stay at least somewhat true to the vision of Tolkien, I think it's a good idea. Like if they use his notes and things, I think them coming up with just their own stuff, I'm not going to say that's a bad thing, but as long as they stayed in the spirit of Tolkien, like maybe if he had notes on some characters and maybe if they developed those characters more fully or something, I'm okay with that. I am curious to see what they come up with. I thought they were going to do, say, Lord of the Rings as a TV series, and honestly that interested me too. But I know that would rub people the wrong way, or some people the wrong way, especially since even though I don't think it was the best of the trilogy, Return of the King won tons of Oscars. So I think that I'm honestly kind of glad they're not redoing those. I have a feeling maybe they'll touch on them. Maybe they'll do their own thing later on if this is really successful. Some different people that talked about it from the Lord of the Rings cast had different takes on this. First was Sean Astin, who was Samwise Gamgee. He basically said when they were filming the Lord of the Rings trilogy, they were like, "Oh, no one will ever do this again." And he's like, "Yeah, they'll remake it someday." He says it would definitely happen. He knew something like this would happen. And honestly, I'm not surprised either that they're trying something else. I mean, it's just like any other franchise out there. They always go back to the well, right? One of the more critical views on this project is John Rhys Davies, who played Gimli, the dwarf. He was pretty pissed. He is really angry, and the long story short, he basically said it was just a cash grab, and that Tolkien is probably spinning around in his grave. Now, granted, I thought that would have been when they made The Hobbit, but who knows? Lastly, Andy Serkis said he wouldn't be involved. I think it more stems down to him being too busy. I mean, dude's doing everything these days. He also said, though, and I agree with him on this 100%, he thinks that so much time has passed since the original Lord of the Rings trilogy that he thinks a fresh look on the whole thing would be good for a series. And I have to agree with him on that. I don't want, as excited as I am about this, I don't want it to be connected to the Peter Jackson stuff, especially after the abomination that was the Hobbit trilogy. I don't want to see that again. I want to see someone take a fresh take on it, a fresh look. If you have Gollum, make him look different. If you have, the weapons and the armor, and I mean, have a different take on it. Make it your own, I guess is what I'm saying. So hopefully that's what Amazon does with this series, and not just try to recreate the magic that was Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy. Next, we're going to talk about Comcast possibly buying 21st Century Fox assets. Now, last week we talked about Disney possibly buying these assets. And the deal, I guess, that they're working on is it's basically the same deal that Disney was interested in. So it wouldn't be the sports, it wouldn't be Fox News, it would basically be movies and TV for the most part, but not network stuff because, granted, from what I can find, it seems like they were looking at the same stuff that Disney was looking at. And I got to say this, I think this is a very good thing. No, I'm not saying it's a good thing if Comcast gets their hands on it. I'm saying this is a good thing because I feel that if other companies show interest in this, it might light a fire under Disney to try harder to get the assets. Because think about this. If anyone buys Fox, say tons of companies are interested in buying Fox, the Fox assets, there is only one company that benefits the most from buying these assets, and that's Disney. It affects the Star Wars franchise. It affects distribution of Indiana Jones, I think. But either way, it affects Star Wars and the Marvel properties in huge ways. And I think Disney is going to finally realize that they want the money. I mean, I have to flat out say it. They're going to want this money. And I think anything that's holding them back from spending more money, the idea of somebody else getting access to things that should be theirs because it kind of completes the deals they made for Marvel and Star Wars in a way, because the distribution rights for the original Star Wars films and certain characters from the Marvel franchise, it kind of completes their purchases. And there are dollar signs after dollar signs after dollar signs of reasons that they should try to make this deal work and not let someone like Comcast get a hold of it. Yeah, I don't like the idea of Comcast having it. I know it would make Disney huge, but with what they're giving us entertainment-wise right now with those properties, there's more hits than misses. And for me, if the House of Mouse makes all that money, as long as me as a fan is entertained, that's what it is for me. You know what I mean? So, I can't say I like the idea of them basically owning everything, but when it comes to those properties, I would like them to have control of those assets, because as a fan, that means we're getting more and more of what we really want. And though we like the idea of, say, Fox working with Disney to, bring certain characters into the MCU, kind of like Sony did with Spider-Man. I mean, look at the mess that's kind of becoming Spider-Man. I mean, yeah, Marvel can use Spider-Man, but they can't use this, and that. We're getting a Sony Venom movie. Now they're talking about doing Morbius next in their Spidey-less Spider-Man universe, whatever they're calling it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am really excited for Venom starring Tom Hardy, and I guess they're filming it right now. And working on, the stunts and everything. There's footage of Tom Hardy out there doing MMA stuff. That got me really excited for the Venom movie. I mean, those deals aren't going to happen all the time. I think the only reason Sony made that deal is because their back was against the wall, because the Amazing Spider-Man 2, let's just be honest, it sucked. And they realized that, if they want to make some money, they got to give the fans what they really want, which is putting Spidey back where he belongs. Their back was against the wall, and of course they had that email leak thing and everything. That was they were up against the ropes. That's why they made the deal. They didn't make the deal for artistic reasons. They made the deal for money reasons. And which, as a fan, that's fine, because we got Spider-Man in Civil War and Spider-Man Homecoming and future Spider-Man projects coming. So I'm not going to complain as a fan. But I don't think a deal like that is going to happen with Fox, especially with their success of, say, Deadpool. The X-Men franchise is kind of wobbly right now. Not sure what I think of the Phoenix stuff coming up. I'm gonna hold reserve judgment on that stuff, because I don't know much right now. But especially with what they've got on their plate. I mean, if you've seen the new Deadpool teaser, I mean, I'm just as excited for that as I was the first time they started showing that weird marketing. They're doing it again, so Fox isn't faltering on Deadpool. They're not going to give it up that easy. They did, granted, Hugh Jackman finally got to do Logan, and the only way we're going to see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine again, as I mentioned last week, is going to be if the X-Men join or if the Avengers can use Wolverine. But so the ship's kind of sailed on that, but they still have the character and can use the character, and they have the possibility, especially after Logan, to do an X-23 spinoff, and because that was a very popular character from Logan too. So I think that Sony had more of a reason to play nice. Fox really doesn't have a reason unless they sell. So yeah, I think that Comcast talking about wanting to buy it will light a fire under the House of Mouse to, put some of their crybaby stuff aside about not making that extra billion or whatever, or not spending that extra billion to try to get these properties. They're going to figure out what it's really worth, and they are going to, I think, hopefully still fight for it, because as fans, them getting it is the best option. When it came to movies this week, I'm not going to be able to see everything. I did see the Justice League early. My quick thoughts on that, If you're going to see this movie, I mean, of course you probably already have, but seeing this movie, you see it for the heroes. They are definitely the best part of the movie. This is definitely a setup movie. You got to set up the story of Aquaman. You got to set up the story of the Flash. You got to set up the story of Cyborg. You got to update us what's going on with Batman, with Wonder Woman. The villains coming to town, which don't get me started on the villain, Steppenwolf. He's awful. He flat out sucks. I'm just going to put it that way. It's probably one of the worst villains in any comic book movie. And I'm talking even the cheesy crap that came out straight to video, like the Captain America movie with that horrible Red Skull that they did. I mean, the CG alone is worthless. And that's not a knock on Syrian Hines. He did fine. His voiceover is fine, but the CG it's bad. Let's just put it that way. It's bad. The Flash for me is the standout character. The other characters are fine. I can't say that this movie got me excited about a Cyborg spinoff or an Aquaman spinoff, but it got me excited for seeing where they're going to go with Batman, kind of with Wonder Woman. I mean, she kind of just did more of the same from Wonder Woman, which I don't have a problem with. It's fine because I really like that movie, and more of that's fine with me. But it got me excited more about what they're going to do with Batman and of course, as we talked earlier about Ben Affleck, who knows where that's going. But it definitely got me really excited for The Flash. I loved Ezra Miller's take on The Flash. Granted, a lot of people are thinking that, yeah, he's Barry Allen, but he's trying to be Wally West. You know what? They took their own spin on the character. I'm fine with that. They wanted him to be a younger character and kind of be socially awkward and everything, and that really worked for me. So I won't spoil anything. There is a mid-credit scene that Flash fans will be really happy to see. It's, really cool to see what they did. It's something I wanted to see, and we got to see it. I didn't think we'd get it that soon, and it's just something fun. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's something fun involving the Flash. And the after-credit scene, they introduce a new villain, and no, it's not Darkseid, though he is mentioned in the movie. But I thought they nailed it. Let's just put it that way. I thought they nailed this new villain. I'm just going to leave it at that. Just what little bit we got to see. It was everything I hoped it would be. Let's just put it that way. And I'm sure it's only going to get better. So, the reason I'm not seeing the other movies this weekend was because, I saw I wanted to stay home or I didn't want to go to the movies while I was at work, and I watched the Punisher Netflix series. I started at 2 a.m. Central Time. Oddly enough, it dropped at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, and the first episode is called 3 a.m. I don't think that's a coincidence. And I watched it as much as I could, all that I could. I finished it. I uploaded a video about my thoughts on the first season. I'm not doing a chill on Netflix on this one because I'm going to save looking at the character or the season for the Punisher retrospective. But I did give my quick thoughts on another video. I'm just going to put it this way. Watch the video, but I watched the quick thoughts video. But I will say that it wasn't everything I thought it was going to be, but I loved it. John Bernthal nails the character. They set up some stuff for the future. They're definitely taking a slow burn approach into turning him into what we know as the Punisher. Even though we get a glimpse of it at the very first episode of the season, we kind of get to see what that character can be. But they make Frank Castle a very damaged character. And it works. John Bernthal, you can see some inspirations that he's using. When he kind of goes mad, you can honestly kind of see a Rambo feel to it. And when you watch it, you'll know what I mean. But I just have to say that, yeah, I'm not going to go see Wonder until probably sometime next week. And I think The Star is out. I may not even go see that one. I don't know. it just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't. Nothing I've ever seen on that appealed to me. But I haven't decided. You know me though. I'll probably I'll probably go see it whether I want to or not. And I know with Thanksgiving week next week, I believe Coco comes out on preview nights Tuesday, so I'll be seeing that. But yeah, I'm not going to be seeing anything for the weekend. I'm just going to spend time with my boys. Now that I got the Punisher out of the way, and I had already seen Justice League, so and I'm sure most of you that's what you're doing. If you're comic book fans, you're probably watching the Punisher and seeing Justice League this weekend. So welcome to the party. But anyway, that's all that's going on this week. Forget on the mic. If there's anything that you'd like to hear me talk about, comment on it down in the section below. If there's any cool news stories or anything that you'd like me to touch on, feel free to put that stuff down there. Give me your thoughts on what you think of this segment. Like I said, it's just me, a microphone, some notes, man. I like doing this. I like just throwing my thoughts out there, not worrying about editing or anything like that. I just want to think of some stuff and talk about it, man. It's kind of fun for me, just getting my thoughts out there and not having to worry about anything else. It's just kind of fun for me to just spit out, my ideas and, not have to try to entertain or make sure it's the right. I have to find the right picture for the editing or anything. So I like this format. I'm not saying it's going to be my only format on this channel, but I'm really enjoying doing this. I know this is only the second week, and I'm already losing my voice because I'm starting to get that that fall cold. But I really like doing this. Let me know what you think of the segment, and I will see you next week. I believe I'll be recording another one on Friday next week. I know it's a holiday weekend. Our plan, we're not doing anything till the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So, I'm not gonna let a holiday stop me. I normally don't anyway. I'm usually in a movie theater on a holiday. Just how I roll. So anyway, until next time, I'm Gino Reynolds from The Real Gino, and this has been Get on the Mic.